2 will be a series of portraits that I've done on adult women inmates with a integrated with a transparency of their writing into their portrait. So it's their own memoir with my portrait of their face. And that was a wonderful, intense experience doing their portraits and reading their memoirs. And they will be intertwined, their portrait and some of their writing together. Women that I know, like wonderful social workers, say, I can't work with the women, it's too heavy. I can't do it. And I think what's so hard about it, what's so wonderful, but what is so hard, you really identify. It could be me. And you think, oh, they're there, and the line's very thin. It's very thin, and it gets so thin sometimes.
Expedition through life, through life, through life.
My name is Elizabeth Josephson, and I've been teaching art on Rikers Island for almost 10 years now. This particular body of work is of the adult women inmates, this is more of a project that I was doing on a voluntary basis after work, where I would go over and draw the women and working in conjunction with my colleague who was getting the writing, Don Murphy. It was a collaboration between the women and myself. When I draw people, we literally almost knock knees. That's how close. I take my glasses off because you want to be on another level. You don't want to be on a level that's just observational. You want to be on a level that's knowing what's underneath. And so it's kind of, I sit really close. I mean, I have to say excuse me because I'm constantly knocking knees with everybody. And I think people are a little shocked at first. Can you come a little closer, come a little closer? And they don't stay still. I don't like people to stay still. They move. And I think that makes them feel comfortable. I think we make each other feel comfortable. I think they also inspire the drawing.
You know, life is one of those funny things. It'll take you on a mission. Sometimes you just gotta be ready to go for the ride. Y'all ready? Let's go. Most of my existence spent in a conflict of interest since the age of 6 and upon my entrance a Sunday school.
Every one of these women has been sexually abused from the early age on. This woman here, in the middle with a lot of type on her, that's a timeline of her life. There's barely no moment when she's not being abused severely. Without revealing too much, she had a lot of advocates for her, a lot of advocates. A lot of press, a lot of advocates. And it was a very negative outcome. When you have to ask really, who was the criminal or criminals? There's a lot of rage, of understandable rage. A lot of these women are in for where the underlying root is rage. Most of it is their writing. Some of it is my notes of our conversations.
This is a journey, an expedition through life.
Choosing the writing, it basically reviewing the different pieces they did And I would choose the one that I thought most thoroughly could explain how I got to know them.
West 4th by the cage, cats stayed in the grill, up in our face. What's that there, Ma? Can I get a taste?
You're very careful to protect their identity too. I mean, she is a complex person, and is probably someone that's been in the upper crust, more exposure to the upper crust of society than most of these women. And she was kind of a little bit, at least further away from her pain. And so it took a while, but I felt the most genuine thing that I saw of her writing was "The Devil is a Liar." Some of the writing felt I couldn't use it. It wasn't kind of false enough to indicate something, and then it wasn't genuine enough to indicate the truth. So we agreed on "The Devil is." She actually liked that too. So, and that's the only thing that I liked for her. The reason that they're blue is because I practice medicine Buddha, and in practicing that, you emanate a blue light. So I chose blue to hopefully it be a healing process for them. So maybe that'll go into the people's environment that buy it as well.
By the cage, cats stayed in the grill, up in our face. What's that there, Ma? Can I get a taste? We giggled a lot.
The thing that's interesting about the women's jail, unlike the boys in the men's jail, it's racially mixed. The boys in men's jail is basically African American and Hispanic. You get over to the women's jail and it's mixed. That's really the most striking thing that you see when you get there. And it's also really mixed economically too. It's not just underprivileged financially. There's lots of studies that sexual abuse happens across the board. It's not just from like poor families. It was kind of a general consensus that none of us faced any of this stuff or talked about any of it until later in life. So I think giving words to such pain, like a lot of this language is about pain. Once you stop not having language for that, repressing that, you say, this hurts because of this. No matter how ugly it is to anybody. I think once you actually give language to that, you all of a sudden have language for a lot more. It's empowering. I think a lot of these women are going through, even though they're in jail, I think they are at least safe, and that's the sad thing about jail. They're getting an education, they're facing their pain, there's a sense of empowerment going on. You just wish they had an opportunity to do it in another place and in another way. I couldn't wait to get there every day, to draw them and be there. They probably were the best subjects I've ever had. The irony is, really the irony, and I can barely wrap my mind around it. But I went to a kind of an elite all-women's college, kind of avant-garde college for women. It was one of the first colleges to have women, and a lot of women that have done great things have come from it. And when I landed there, I was like, it's the first time in my life where it was like I was comfortable. It felt real. And then I had the same feeling when I went over to the women's jail every day. I said, this feels like, the irony is, this feels like Sarah Lawrence. There was such a high level of intelligence and emotional exploration and honesty and self-reflection going on. It's a very the language I'm so careful to respect the reality of being there. It's hard to come up with the language to describe the experience for me being there. You want to say stimulating, interesting, but at the same time, it's a place of extreme pain.
This is my exhibition, all access to the world unrestricted. This is a journey, an expedition through life, through life, through life, through life, through life, through life.
It's kind of completely inspiring, this project, and I think it helped them have a voice and helped me have a voice. I like words more now.
You like words more now?
I didn't like words. Like when you said we were going to do an interview, I was like, oh my God. I'm really like, I perceive myself as someone that doesn't like words that much, and I'm an artist, I'm visual. So, but as you can see, I'm talking, I'm getting better.